fire, on fire, choose fire, on fire, choose fire, on fire, choose fire, on fire, choose fire. We're excited that you took it for a time of refreshing with Miss Ali is a show. She's an author, motivator, inspirational speaker, with a fire to inspire the whole world. She's a girl to fire, on fire, to inspire, on fire, to inspire, on fire. That she's on fire, to inspire, on fire, to inspire, on fire, to inspire, on fire, to inspire. Inspiration, motivation, encouragement, empowerment. You need inspiration, a little bit of motivation, see, as well. Thank you for tuning to the show. Thank you, thank you. Thank you to the sponsors of the show. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome, welcome, welcome to On Fire to Inspire. I am Aaliyah, the Purpose Midwife. I'm your host. I want to thank you so much for joining us this beautiful, beautiful Tuesday evening. You could have been doing anything else, but you chose to spend it with us. And for that, we are totally grateful. So I tell y'all, while I'm thanking our sponsors, do me a favor and hit that share button because you don't want to miss this great interview, okay? So I want to thank our sponsors. I want to thank mombizboss.org. If you are a mom, multiple operational manager, and you have a business or multiple businesses, or you're a serialpreneur, or you're an aspiring entrepreneur, you want to join me. It's mombizboss.org. Mombizboss is a group of women that are just awesome, awesome in building businesses. You're being able to glean and learn from each other, as well as network, some awesome networking opportunities. And there's a monthly brunch that they have awesome speakers with. So you want to go to mombizboss.org. And they actually have an upcoming cruise. It is called Bossing Hard and Playing Harder. So that is coming up on October the 26th through the 29th. And that they do have a May special for membership for the program as well. So look up Mom Biz Boss, that's Mom B-I-Z Boss.org, and see what you can do and get joining that group, as well as if you want to join and be a part of that cruise, you can jump on in. That was October the 26th through the 29th. We had an awesome, magnificent opportunity. And if you want to get in on it, let us know. But one of my guests last week, um, Natalie Warren, she is a therapist and how do you call it? Breathing coach, something to that effect. She is going to give us a free breathwork session. If you are interested, reach out to us either on my Facebook page or inbox me. Let me know if you want to be a part of that free session. We're going to be doing a free breathwork class session, because so many of the women, they're going, 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 going. They haven't taken the time to pause, to breathe, and anything else. So it's time to pull down the oxygen mask and put the oxygen mask on. And she's going to help us do that. So if you're interested, reach out to us or email her at admin@awaken, the number 2, power.com. In your subject, make sure you put On Fire to Inspire, because we're going to all be in the group together, and we'll be letting you know once we get everybody together what that date will be and what that'll look like. Okay, it will be virtual because all of us are a little bit of everywhere. Also, our next sponsor is wearmytea.com. Wearmytea.com is actually, excuse me, one of the guests last week is my big brother and apostle. He has some t-shirts that they have designed. One of them I wear frequently, called Jesus is a Brand. So many people get caught up in wearing brands, but it said he's the brand, right? So that's one of them. The one they're using for his fundraiser for his mission trip to Africa is called that one's called Blessed to be a Blessing. And you can get that one for $25, and that actually will be going towards his mission trip to Africa on the 22nd of this month. And then they have oh goodness, I think it's Shine Girl something. And Shine is not spelled in a normal way. But check them out on where my t, just the letter t.com. Then you can go visit iworkfaith.com because he's actually a Maxwell certified coach, and he's a leadership speaker. He is excellent, and you can get his leadership book at iworkfaith.com. And then last but not least, we have the Brown team, Metro Brokers Home and Gardens. They are a top husband and wife team. Cornelia and Bernard are the Brown team. They have over 40 something years of combined experience. And if you need them, they are there for you. We'll put the information in the messages. Uh, and then finally, I said finally a while ago, but this is it for real. If you don't have my children's book, Teaching You Foundational English and Spanish with a Music CD, this is my second child. Her name is Precious the Panda, right? You can get that for your children, grandchildren, nieces and nephews. And then for the moms, we have the original book on Fire to Inspire. It actually was a book before we became a show, right? And then we have if you are into affirmations, you need to be. If you're not, this is the affirmation journal called the I Am Affirmations Inspiration Affirmations Journal. And we have the coloring book. And so if you know a teen girl or woman that may be in need of either of these things, you can either reach out to me or you can go out to Amazon. The actual coloring book is on Amazon.com. It's on Target and Walmart as well. The rest of them are all on Amazon, but the coloring book is on Walmart.com, Target.com, Barnes and Nobles, and all those good things. All right, y'all. Well, we have talked about all our sponsors. We thank you so much. Thank you to all of our sponsors. I'm ready to hop in and dive in and welcome. I guess she's never been here with us on Friday Insight. So we're excited to have the single mom life coach, none other than Coach Risa. Welcome to On Friday Inspire. How are you this great evening?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am great. I'm great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I want you to introduce yourself to the On Friday Inspire audience because many of them have not heard, they haven't, you haven't been here. So they're like, I don't know Coach Risa. So tell us who is.
Okay. Well, first, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. As you said, I am Coach Risa. I am the single mom life coach. I basically work with career-driven single moms, and I help them become the woman that they want to be and live the lifestyle that they deserve. But the key is without neglecting their kids, because a lot of single moms do things for their kids, but they don't do things for themselves. And so I can speak on that because I was that single mom at one point. I've been a single mom for over, well, 20, basically 20 years. She just turned 20 last week. And so I know that, mom guilt is real where you feel like, I don't have the time, or if I do make the time, I shouldn't have made the time. And so you also think about what about me as a woman? And so instead of putting the woman on the back burner and just being the mom, I help single moms become who they always wanted to be and live that lifestyle that they always wanted, because our kids are going to leave the nest one day, and we can't wait until they leave the nest to be who we want to be.
Absolutely. Amen and amen. So, the single mom coach, the topic we have is shifting into obedience. What does that topic itself mean to you?
That topic it's really been, I would say, when you said that that was going to be the topic of the day, like, it really explains most of my life. And being obedient to God, I am a believer. Uh, I can't even say how the percentage, but I am a believer. And so being obedient, it is life changing. It is a journey. It is also something that can be difficult to do because sometimes I can be honest and say I may not have followed God's direction like right away, but when I did, my life changed. And speaking of being obedience, like my entire business stems from me being obedient. Outside of my personal life, what I do now, it stems from me being obedient.
Wow. So, how did you get the actual title or the name, the single mom life coach?
I got that because it is my coaching style, and the things that I help single moms do is not like anybody else. Basically, what that means is other coaches will focus on you as a parent, and I focus on the single mom. And so it is important, like I said, for single moms to think about themselves. We get a lot of advice on things like what we should do for the kids. When people find out you're pregnant at your baby shower, they give you all this advice for the kids. But for the most part, they don't say anything to the mom like, okay, sleep when the baby sleeps. But how does that work? It can, but like, what else should I be doing? And so that is how I got the name The Single Mom Life Coach, because I coach the mom, not her as the parent.
Gotcha, gotcha. I love that. Now, as you have shifted into obedience, um, how have you allowed that part of who you are to help you in coaching your moms?
Oh, that's a loaded question. That's a loaded question. I would say I basically, anything that I tell the moms that they should do, any type of suggestion that I give, it is not something that I haven't done myself. And so that's
Okay.
number one. And if I did something that didn't work, I tell my clients that, hey, I tried this didn't work for me. It might work for you, but it didn't work for me. But I'll give them that suggestion. And so with me being obedient, because all of us have a call on our lives, and some people may not realize it in it, and some people think of a call as only being a minister, only being a pastor. And so we are called to many things. And with being a single mom, our assignment isn't just to be the mom. There are other things that God wants us to do outside of raising that child or those children. And so, with that, if there's any type of feeling that you have inside, where you may dream about it all the time, you may think about it during the day and daydream, whether it's something that people always told you that you should do, that is that calling. And so in that, being obedient is important, because there are people, I look at it like this: there are people that are assigned to your calling. And as I
Mm-hmm.
said, your calling it's not just being a minister. And so in being obedient, you're also changing somebody else's life or lives,
Mm-hmm.
and allowing them to operate in what God need them to do. So it's like a whole like connection, for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, for the moms who are listening right now, and they're like, I hear you talking about there's a life there's a life for me beyond putting food on the table and taking them to soccer practice and taking them to ballet practice. But how do I fit me into that? What do you say to that mom that's feeling overwhelmed?
What I say is, first, I will say to breathe. Number one, we don't breathe enough. And I mean, I felt like for myself, as I say, I always put myself in any type of advice or suggestions. So I put myself in this where I realized when I was taking my daughter to her cheer practices, when I was doing all those things, before I started saying yes to myself, and I started saying yes to myself about 10 years ago. And so this hasn't always been who you see today, Coach Risa, has not always been. So 10 years ago and prior, I was the one who was going, going, going. I did things for the church, to where I had my daughter with me all the time. She had practices. We ate Wendy's a lot. Like, there were times where I would go from one church service to another church service and go to something with my family. I would miss things with my family because of things with church. Like there are all these things that I was so tangled up in that I wasn't operating in the calling that God told me about in my dreams years prior. And so what I say is first to breathe, because our bodies naturally, if that is something that we have, we breathe. But
Right.
in being overwhelmed, it starts with breathing. And so I would say to breathe and relax those shoulders, relax that jawline, and think about how your life would be. Like, wouldn't it be nice to do something for yourself? Wouldn't it be nice to have a moment to yourself to where you can breathe? And so you start small. So starting small, we look at the big picture, but start small, because thinking of it all at one time can cause you to be even more overwhelmed. Like, oh my gosh, how can I do stuff for myself? How can I be, that mom that I see on Facebook or on Instagram living her life? How can I be her? How does she do it? And I will say, start small. And so what that means is start small with like having at least 1 minute to yourself. I talk to my clients who I call butterflies. I talk to them all the time about the bathroom time. A lot of moms give their kids access to them in the bathroom, and they should not, because the bathroom is your time. And so, how do you get time in the bathroom? You probably give your kids your phone anyway. And so, set a timer on your phone and turn it into a game. And so, tell your kids, give them something to do, because I used to have my daughter, and I've always done this with my daughter since I had her. Like, since she was able to walk, to basically give me some time. Give mommy some mommy time. And so then you also have to give your kids their time as well. And so you show them what it feels like to have their time, and you show them what it feels like to give mommy her time. And so that timer can be set for 1 minute. That's when you can just breathe and cry, whatever you need to do in the bathroom. And then when the timer goes off, mommy comes out. Then after a while, you can increase it from 1 minute to 2 minutes to 3 minutes, and so forth, and give your kids something to do during that time. That's small steps in being able to do what you want to do. And then, of course, use the village. If you don't have a village, you should have at least one person that you can trust with your kids. And so, as you build that trust with that person, just have it to where it's a time where you go get an ice cream cone. Your kids don't have to know you're going to get ice cream. That the person that you have watching your kids, they don't need to know that you're going to get ice cream. But you just give yourself that little bit of time to go pick up something to eat that you want, where you don't have to share it. And then that is something else that will give you that mommy time that you need. Then you can go big and go out with your friends and go for a whole weekend. And, so don't make it something that is an additional weight to carry. And speaking of weight, I'll say this really quick. The other thing is you have to take off the cape. We don't have to be superwoman. We don't have to, I say this all the time. We don't have to be super mom. That song, I'm Every Woman, the Superwoman, Alicia Keys song, all of them sound good, but we don't have to be that. And so give yourself permission to not be that woman, to not be the one that carries the weight all the time. Being a single mom, you already carry the weight, but it can be lighter when you take off the cape. Because when I realized that I could take off the cape, and that took the weight off of my shoulders and the pressure that I had, you know? So that's what I would say to that.
I like that. The weight can be lighter when you take off the cape.
Yes, for sure.
Trying to type that in. Yes.
Yeah.
Um, what about what about the mom that's like, well, I do mean, but I don't have time for these kids. They get on my nerves. I'm burnt out with them. What do you
Uh-huh.
say to that? Trying to kind of help bring them on back in too, because we got to have a balance. So
Yes, for sure. So to that mom, I would say that you have to include your kids in the lifestyle that you want. So that means that mommy wants to come home and not be so stressed. So if mommy's stressed in the house, think about that. Why are you so stressed with the kids? What are the behaviors? Because this is one thing. Our kids also sometimes feed off of our energy, feed off of what we're giving them. So if you're coming home and you're stressed out from work, let, let me back up for a second. The morning. In the morning, I know me and my daughter have had times where it was stressful trying to get out the door, get her on the bus to the daycare or wherever. It was stressful. And sometimes, you can raise your voice, you can yell, all these things, and you're frustrated. But think about this, they are kids, they don't think like us. And one thing I can say that I wish I would have done with my daughter is take that time with her. And this is one thing I can say I didn't do. Take that time with her to talk about time management. Our kids don't know what that is. And so if you're
mhm,
stressed in the mornings, talk to your kids about what needs to be done. If they're to the age where they can tell time, give them the task of tracking the time. And then maybe you could give them a sticker or something, because kids like things, or an allowance or whatever the case may be for doing good with the time management in the morning, the time management with them getting themselves together, prepping the night before so that we're not so frustrated. Because that burnout, it starts in the morning because then we have to rush to get to work, and then in the evening, and then when we get off work, we're rushing to pick them up. They may have practice. You got to figure out dinner. They got to get ready for bed. You haven't done what you wanted to do. The house is a mess. Like, if you aren't okay, your kids aren't okay. And so it starts with you. And so we have to do more with prepping our kids for things that they're going to have to figure out in life. So instead of waiting for them to be adults to figure it out, you start now. And you can start as early as you want, 2 years old, 1 years old. Like it, the sooner the better, really. And give them things to do in the house. We should not be doing everything. That adds to the
mhm,
burnout.
mhm,
And think
mhm.
about how you operate your house. Are you doing everything for your kids? Can your kids help you put clothes in the dryer from the washing machine? Can they help put dishes up? Can they help vacuum, sweep, put the bed together, make the bed, you know, fold things, like give them things to do to help you minimize that burnout so that when you do come back from doing you don't feel like, oh my gosh, like I'm back in reality.
I like that. I like that. And adding them, involving them, and including them so they can feel like they're a part. Because even as early as 2 years old, they can help you put clothes in the dryer. And they
Yeah.
love cooking. and when they're around that age, they want to help sweep. Now they're in the way generally at that point, but get them a little space to be able to do some of that too. Because if you let them early, they're gonna look forward to it as because it's a part of the routine. What are you setting as a standard
Exactly.
of your routine? I love that. I love that. Um, One of the things that I tell my clients a lot of the time, a lot of the times, because I deal with my contract, I deal with a lot of young moms, and everybody's busy, but we have to be aware because our children are getting older. You and I can both attest to that. Yours is 20, mine just turned 21. Um,
Okay, yeah.
that time did this. It's like, oh my goodness, we have college students. Oh my goodness, we have adult children, and you move from telling them what to do into more of a coaching role as they get older. But if you
Yep.
spend that time with them when they're younger, it's easy to go into that coach mode, right, Coach Risa? It's
Mm-hmm.
easier
Yeah.
to, to go into that mode. One of the things I say to my moms is learn how to put this away and be present in the
Yes.
present. you
Mm-hmm.
know, because you hate to be so bogged down with something, whether it's, social media or something, and you miss your baby walking for the first time. You know, Nothing is that important to miss out on the things that really, really count. You agree to that?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Being present is something that I worked on. And it's funny you said that. I worked on being present before I worked on saying yes to myself,
Okay.
because it was something that was really important to me. I
Hmm.
always made sure I had a dining room table so that me and my daughter could have our time, because that was important to me. And so now we have like our communication, the way we communicate and how we talk about things is open. Some things I don't want to know, but is what it is. But it's we have that relationship because we spent time at the table talking. Now this was after now there were times, like I said, we ate Wendy's a lot, but there still were times where I cooked dinner and we ate.
Hmm.
We did a lot of spaghetti, but we but we definitely had that time where no phones. And when the phones do come into play, like you said, like I don't on my social media, I don't post a lot. I don't do a lot of live videos, because even though it's like just me, even though she's home for the summer, I still practice that me time to where I don't turn on my TV every day. And you can consider that like almost a part of self-care, I guess, because everything has a name now. But I make sure that I'm not so consumed with social media, and even with my daughter, with her being home now, it's important for
Yes,
sure.
I agree. I love how you said that because, as single moms and you're running, 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 and things are happening, um, you have to take that time to actually check in. You're checking in with them, but you're also checking in with you. And I love because that was one of the
Hmm.
things when we did sit down and eat, we were able to talk. Because as teenagers,
Yeah.
you ask them questions, and what's their question? Them to answer. Yes, it was okay.
Right.
And and so you have to nurture a relationship the way they will communicate with you now. So by the time they're teens and they get into that mode, you're able to kind of still navigate that thing and but you can't do it as a teenager, think you're going to talk to them and you ain't done that when they were younger. It's not going to work.
Exactly. Because as a teenager, they don't want to go with you nowhere. They don't care what they'll eat, noodles, or just ask you to bring something back, and you'll turn into Uber Eats real fast.
I used to call myself Uber Mom because all of the events and stuff, everybody wanted, well, can your mom take us? I'm like, don't y'all other parents have?
Yep. Hmm.
Oh my goodness. Now, for the moms who are saying, "Oh my goodness, I'm loving every bit of this," Coach Risa, how in the world can I find out more about you and find out more about how you can help me get some normalcy to my life? What would you say to that young lady?
I would say do not. pause on that thought. Don't press the red button and stop that thought. Go forward with it. And I say that because I find that we have thoughts and we don't act on them, and we think, oh, it's not going to work for me. I would say to give it a try. It's just like therapy. I am a wellness advocate for single moms. I'm not a therapist, so I'm not in the mental health, but I am in the wellness field. And so, with that being said, your wellness is important. Like, follow me on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram as the Single Mom Life Coach. And my website is thesinglemomlifecoach.org. I have basically different types of services. I have it's called MOM, which stands for More of Me, planner and a digital planner and habit tracker that's coming out at the end of this month. And it comes with coaching services with me. I also have coaching services virtually, and I'm in Virginia. So if you're in Virginia, I will come to your home to coach you, just like, and if you're out of state as well, just like Iyanla Fix My Life. Like, have you ever watched that and wished that somebody could come to your house and help you? If you're a single mom, it can happen. And so, and then I do things in this area as well in Virginia with moms. So just reach out. DM me if you have a question. If you're not sure, I do consultations for 30 minutes that you can sign up just to see if we fit. You know, there's so many
Mhm.
options, so many options. And I am excited to talk to whoever decides to, book me for one of those services, even if it's just a DM. Please do that. Even if it's just a question and you don't know what to do, just like you asked me questions tonight, I'm fine with answering a question as well. So there is really no limit. Like, and I'm so grateful that I was obedient to God in doing this, because it is something that I ain't gonna lie, I was a little resistant, because originally I was just a coach for women. And about 4 years ago now, God told me to only coach single moms. And I really was like, I'm a single mom myself. I'm just starting to, like, I'm living my life. That's not something, I don't want to talk about, because, I'm a single mom without a co parent. And I've never had a co-parent. I thank God for the village, my sister, my parents, even my oldest nephew, and other family members that have helped me with my daughter, when I needed my me time, or just with other things, with that. But I wish that I had a coach Risa when she was younger, because it is important for you to be well. Because I always say, if you're not okay, the household isn't okay. And it shows up with your kids. If your kids are already always irritable, or if you're irritated with your kids, you need to schedule a service with me for sure.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I want you to repeat how they can contact you, how they can follow you, because you post some great little tips and stuff throughout time, just to kind of things that say, oh, yeah, so that's helpful to those who are saying, I'm gonna sit on the fence, which you don't need to, but while they're looking, they can actually be helped as well. So you can repeat that for them one more
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, thank you. Yep, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook, the Single Mom Life Coach. And I am also, I have my website. Everything is the Single Mom Life Coach. So thesinglemomlifecoach.org is my website, where you can see the details of my services as well. So yeah, definitely follow me. I understand wanting to follow. I'm glad you said that too. I understand wanting to follow before booking, but it we have some real good conversations. So book a service for sure.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again for joining us tonight. We appreciate you, and let us know if you want to come back. You got some new stuff going on. To keep us posted. Look, because you're in the family now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Thank you for welcoming me in the
All right.
family. Yes, for sure. Thank you.
Bye bye. All right, y'all. So if y'all missed any of this interview with Coach Risa, I tell you, she's been a total blessing. Um, and if you know any single moms, share this broadcast with them because so many single moms are experiencing so much burnout, and that means that you need some help. And there's nothing wrong with going with to get help. One of the things that we need to realize is we're not super women. As she said, take that cape off, and get some help. Who is your village that you can trust to say, hey, I just need a minute. If it's only 30 minutes, whatever, who is that you can trust to say, hey, I just need to breathe. I want to go for a 20-minute walk or whatever. Because right here in South Carolina, we've had the mental health numbers here has been ridiculous for this to be such a small state. And even in our county, we're number one in the state as far as our small little county for suicide. And so, mental health, this is Mental Health Awareness Month. This is a serious thing. And I don't want you to take it lightly. We did have some fun with this interview, but I don't want you to take it lightly. If you think you're beyond getting a counselor or someone like that, go see a psychiatrist because you may need medication. I'm not that advocate for medication, but I am an advocate for helping you get well from where you are. You may need to be putting some things into your diet to help because you may be lacking some things in your diet. If you're in that bed all day, every day, that's not good. You need to be getting the vitamin D if that's going outside for 20 to 30 minutes. You need to be getting that vitamin D to help give you the nutrients naturally so that you can pick yourself up because if you're not there, like she said, if you're not okay, Coach Risa just said, if you're not okay, your children aren't okay. They feel what you feel. So you can mask it if you want, but it's not going to work. So reach out to her, reach out to a therapist if you need to go deeper with, trying to get medication, whatever that looks like for you. Because guess what? We love you, we believe in you, and we need you to be the best version of you for yourself and for these children because you can't serve them from an empty cup. But I am Aaliyah, your purpose midwife. I want y'all to come back next week with us. Again, if y'all know any single moms, share this with them. But next week we will have uh, Tay Abrams, and she will be talking about investing in your legacy. So she's talking about investing in our kids and teaching our children. And so tonight we're investing in you. Next week we're gonna be investing in the little ones. So let's talk about that next week. Join us next week, same time, same place, right here on Fire to Inspire on YouTube. You're over here at Aaliyah, the Purpose Midwife. Thank you so much for chiming in. Over on Facebook, you're in On Fire to Inspire Network. And for the LinkedIn, you're at Aaliyah, the Purpose Midwife. If you have not subscribed, please go over to YouTube and subscribe to our channel at Aaliyah, the Purpose Midwife. And we would love, love, love for you to be able to go over and check out any of our replays because, y'all, we've had some magnificent guests come up and just share some things. There are also some replays of some things that I have released as God has placed on my heart. So I look forward to seeing y'all back next week as we come back with Ty Lord Abrams next week. All right, y'all. See y'all next week. God bless you.